Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I very welcome my friends and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Today's headlines. Todd Phillips, the director of the Joker movie, says not a word uttered in this film is taken from the comics. What do you feel about that? I'm going to read Empire's very own article about that. Our very own John Aaron Garza, I call him one of our very own because he's a Snyder fan. He likes BVS, he likes Man of Steel. He's one of our own. He's made another video. This time it's a trailer in the style of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I'm going to try and find the audio track for that for you. And I'll be talking about smiling in the Justice League trailer. And what a stupid fucking idea that was and how cringe that was. So as you know, I have seen a test screening of the Joker movie. Oh, Mick, you're always showing off about that. Why shouldn't I? It's one of the greatest films I've ever seen. One of my favourite films is JFK, directed by Oliver Stone, or Born on the 4th of July. You know, then it's Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, films like that. But, I've got lots of favourite films. But I think Joker movie, because Joker movie is what I call a real movie. And this is what I'm calling it. The way they used to make films, about characters, about environments. But let's read this article because I think it's great to hear from Todd Phillips because I do hear from him a lot because I'm always on his Instagram. He's replied a couple of times. He's a really, really talented guy and a good guy. So let's have a look. This is by Ben Travis. This was posted 18 hours ago. You didn't want to know that, did you? Sometimes he's the man beneath the red hood. In some instances, he's a wannabe comedian who took a tumble into a toxic vat of ace chemicals. Well, here's the thing, right? He's going to be kind of a comedian in this film, or try to be a comedian. That's taken from aspects of some of the comics. Anyway, in Tim Burton's Batman, he's the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents, and soon we're going to get a whole new origin story for the one of the most iconic characters of all time. It's interesting, isn't it, that in Burton's Batman film, we did actually see an origin story for Joker. Nobody really made a big deal about that at the time, so really you shouldn't be making a big deal about Joker movies, should you? Anyway, for one of the most iconic characters of all time, in comics, in films, in popular culture, full stop, in Todd Phillips' Joker, a radical new take on the clown prince of crime, say that again, I won't know, inspired by Scorsese in the hard-edged urban cinema of the 1970s. This time, it's Joaquin Phoenix under the happy face makeup, and it's an incarnation that breaks all the rules around the ultimate rule-breaking character. The August 2019 issue of Empire, on sale from Thursday, 11th of July, takes a world-exclusive look inside the low-budget, hyper-intense comic book movie, and according to Phillips, it's going to be its own unique beast. It is. We didn't follow anything from the comic books. Well, you kind of did, which people are going to be mad about. You see, this is what I mean. They love the controversy. Why would you say that? You know comic book fans, it's just about getting people to talk about it on social media because you wouldn't really, they're going to be mad. We're going to do things that you're going to hate. By the way, you're not going to hate this movie unless you're a total imbecile. Anyway, where are we? We didn't follow anything from the comic books, which people are going to be mad about. The writer-director tells Empire, we just wrote our own version of where a guy like Joker might come from. That's what was interesting to me. We're not even doing Joker, but the story of becoming Joker. It's about this man. That man is Arthur Fleck, a vulnerable, damaged man who will eventually, inevitably become the card-carrying, psychopathic criminal who strikes out at Gotham City. And for the filmmakers, Phoenix was always the man for the role. I think he's the greatest actor, says Phillips. I think after seeing him, he fucking is. We had a photo of him above our computer while we were writing. We constantly thought, God, imagine if Joaquin actually does this. We won't have to imagine. We'll see the finished film in its all glory in the UK cinemas from the 4th of October. Do you know what, guys? I can't wait for this film to fucking come out so we can talk openly. I think it's one of the greatest films that's ever been made. And, this is not about CG or VFX or big action set pieces or gags. This is about watching a man. It's a cautionary tale. It's about a man coming apart at the seams. Male mental health commentary is through the roof. It's beautiful. But it is about the Joker. He does become the Joker. He does have the traits of the Joker. It's beautiful. I better stop talking. Read much... Hang on, where are we? Read much more about the Joker, including interviews with Philip Phoenix and producers Bradley Cooper. Well, yeah, basically that's the article. But, you know, I don't think Todd Phillips says anything too controversial there, because we kind of know there's no Arthur Fleck in the comic books. In fact, it's pretty obvious that the name Arthur Fleck is inspired by Ben Affleck, isn't it? And so that's what I think anyway, and I'm sure a lot of you thought that. That's why look, I think this film is going to show things that I haven't seen yet. Test screenings are very, they don't put everything in. So there's going to be surprises. That's what I've been told. There's things that I haven't seen yet. We've only seen one teaser trailer. I think we're even going to be surprised what they show. But basically, I think there's things that are going to surprise me in this movie. But from what I saw, this film was absolutely beautiful, absolutely fantastic. I cried. It broke my heart. It was powerful. It was compelling. The movie of the year isn't the movie that's going to be the record-breaking, best-selling hit. It's not Endgame. The movie of the year isn't Spider-Man Homecoming. It's not going to be... What's it called? Frozen 2, right? How can I forget Frozen 2, which I'm actually looking forward to? Or Toy Story 4, or whatever crap they hype up. The movie of this year, the movie of the next few years, is Joker movie, which proves that Walter Hamada is the right man to run DC films, the world of DC. He's the right man. He's integrating the DCEU with films like Aquaman and Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, Supergirl, and so many more projects coming. But he's also thought about this black label. Very few creators would have done this, but this is so Warner Brothers, because the black label of films is what Warner Brothers do so well, making real films, dark films, character focused films. And this is what this black label is. And they can absolutely do anything with this black label. It doesn't have to be interconnected. They can do random standalone movies. And that's why, my friends, I think that, well, I told you before, Walter Hamada is a genius. We've seen that with what he's done at New Line Cinema. Now, him and New Line Cinema are pretty much running DC films. And I'm so very excited about the future. I believe that John Aaron Garza divides opinion, like all Snyder fans do, like all DCEU fans do. He made that big article about the Snyder Cut needing $40 million, and if it's even worth Warner Brothers' money, time and effort. Now, that was his opinion, and I spoke about it. I don't agree with everything he said, but I do like him. I do like people who put themselves out there. And there's so many people in this community, wonderful people, some that don't get the follows and the views, people like me, but still have the right to talk and air our views. So John has done another video. He's edited, is it a Batman v Superman trailer? I think it is, or is it Justice League? I can't remember now, but I've got it here for you. And it's in the style of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. So let's have a listen to this. Remember, it's audio, not visual, so there's some things that might seem out of context.
The world has been so caught up with what Superman can do that no one has asked what he should do.
Buffering, I'm sorry. It's his fucking phone. Come on, behave yourself. You're making...
Let the record show that this committee holds him responsible. How do we determine what's good? Good is a conversation, not a unilateral decision. So I urge Superman to come to this hill of the people tomorrow, to see those who have suffered. The world needs to know what happened in that desert, and to know what he stands for. How far will he take his power? He does he act by our will or by his own? Because today is a day for truth.
Oh yes, we've got buffering again. It doesn't matter how good the internet is.
See
You're gonna go to war. Something about the war you show us. Nobody cares about Clark Kent taking off his back. Greatest gladiator match in the history of the world.
So it's another brilliant kind of edit by John Aaron Garza. Go and follow him. You're missing out on all these great videos. At John Aaron Garza, he's really good. He's really opinionated, and all good people should be opinionated because you should never hide what you're thinking. We should hide some of the things, the things that are really, really going to upset people. But film opinion should be something, a film fandom, whoever you're from, MCU, DCEU, you should always be passionate, because passion is what it's all about. The actual movies are just three-quarters of the element, but talking about the actors, the directors, what we agreed with, what we didn't. You know that watching that trailer made me very proud. When I wear this insignia, it makes me feel like a Superman. It makes me feel like a better person. I'm not a better person, but it makes me feel the ideals of Superman and what Superman really means to me is something very, very, I don't know, it's empowering, I suppose. And I just thought I wanted to say that as I was listening to that music and getting really emotional. So let's talk about a Justice League trailer. There's a Justice League trailer where you see a lot of smiling. You see Aquaman smiling. You see the Flash smiling. You see Wonder Woman smiling. This was, of course, a reaction to BVS. And the rumour, well, not the rumours, the kind of reaction from the mainstream audience that that film didn't have anyone smiling. It was a very dour film. It was a very depressing film. Personally, compelling storytelling to me isn't depressing. I'd watch 20 CBMs with the tone of Batman v Superman rather than sitting there and watching the MCU and it's the same thing again and again and again because it makes them money. But what Warner Brothers did, what Zack Snyder did, and Christopher Nolan and Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer, they made a film because they wanted to make a film, a proper film with a story, with a beginning, a middle, an end, a moral commentary. It was beautiful for us, the millions, yes, the millions of people around the world who love Batman v Superman, who love Man of Steel, who love the DCEU and what Zack Snyder brought to the DCEU. And I just hope that one day, the Snyder Cut, we can see it so we can just have it all. And so I can break the Justice League Blu-ray right here in front of you. So what do you think? Are you bothered that the Joker movie apparently isn't an adaptation and it's not taken from any of the comics, even though he is a comedian in The Killing Joke, isn't he? So that's one of his stories. So there is elements taken from the graphic novels, but it's not a direct adaptation. There's no question about that. So do you feel butthurt about that? Don't feel butthurt about it. It's an amazing film. So yes, before I go, that's what I was talking about, right? So you got this. I was going to go. I wanted to add a bit more about the smiling. So what happened was, Joss Whedon, Kevin Sujihara decided that our heroes should smile a lot more. So now they're really good smiles. I mean, apart from the awful smile that Batman does when Superman returns, that was fucking horrible, and that stitched Ben Affleck up. Not that they hadn't stitched Ben Affleck up enough. Sujihara is to blame. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it's funny because I was going to go, but I have got a lot more to say. I did it on the DCEU Extra and I got about, what, 5 thumbs down? I couldn't give a fuck, right? This is the truth. You had Jeff Johns put in charge by the studio. You had you had Zack Snyder put in charge by Christopher Nolan. He went and got Nolan and said, this is your baby. Do what you want with these string of films, right? Man of Steel was successful, so they decided, in fact, they decided to do a franchise before the film was even released. So Zack believed he could do what he wanted, and Jeff Johns wasn't in charge at first, but then they brought in Jeff Johns as chief operating officer, and then he was head of the movies. So officially, his official title was that it was his. Then we talk about it was his decision to pull out Cyborg's origin story, right? Yes, and let me tell you why he thought that. As the man in charge, he thought, we're going to do a Cyborg film. Isn't it better to leave, to have that stuff in an actual Cyborg origin film rather than this film? This is why he didn't want the origins. And this is the problem with doing a Justice League movie before you give the characters origin movies. And this is where Jeff was looking at. So he didn't want to butcher Zack's movie. He was in a difficult situation because things should have been done a different way. Now, what they could have done was and said, you know what? Let's put these heroes in. Let's give them mini arcs, mini origin stories. Let's introduce them quickly and say, right, this is this one's origin story. Let's see it and let's see that and let's make that part of the arc of this film. But again, that can be very messy if you do that. It's very squashed together. And you're not focusing on one character, don't forget. It's a whole league. So the truth of the matter is, and I said this yesterday, either Jeff Johns or Zack Snyder are to blame here with this situation. Kevin Sugihara is totally to blame. Nobody else, and he's gone. And I'm happy he's gone. We've got a new CEO. It's time to look forward and stop demanding sackings and being assholes and keep saying, oh, well, Jeff Johns is fired from Warner Bros. He's not fired from Warner Bros. Warner Brothers love Jeff Johns. That's why they allowed him to set up Mad Ghost. They're allowing him to develop his own Green Lantern franchise of movies because they know that's what he does best. He wasn't a leader. He admitted he wasn't a good leader. He said that. Let's stop doing down a legend because he didn't get Zack Snyder the sack. Now, I don't believe he's the one who said, let's make it 2 hours, let's make everyone smile. No, because I think when they decided to portray Zack Snyder, when he took when he stepped away from the project to be with his family after his daughter took her own life. Imagine how massive that is, right? And then they betrayed him. I don't think that was Jeff Johns. I think that was the moment they said, stand aside, Jeff. Sugihara comes in, right, he's gone now. I want you to change A, B, C, and D. And that's what they did. But because this guy who worked on Justice League has come out and called Jeff Johns some names because he didn't want to use the Cyborg origin story, that's all very well and good. But I can see Jeff Johns' point of view here because how do you squeeze together all these origin stories in one film? It's very difficult. They should. I think Zack Snyder wanted to do the origins before the Justice League movie. And it's clear that the studio, a.k.a. Kevin Sugihara, wouldn't allow it because they were obsessed with catching up with Disney and Marvel. And that's what went wrong, my friends. So please comment down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is my opinion. The comment sections are for your opinions. And no comment will be deleted, no matter how hideous you talk about me. Let's air our views. Let's try and be nice. Let's try and love each other. And remember one thing. Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are two of the best films ever made. That's not a debate. I'll speak to you later. I'll be back. What is...